Hi, my name is Dr. Ross Hauser. Welcome to the Hauser Neck Center here in Fort Myers, Florida. Here with physical therapist Karen, who I've known for about 2 years. And, you know, obviously if somebody met you now, they would think you're the pillar of health, but it wasn't that way like 2 years ago. Maybe you could explain, you know, where you were and where you're now and what are things that you did. And then eventually I'd like to talk about your work as a physical therapist.
So about 6 months before I saw you, another physical therapist manipulated my neck. And within an hour, I had pain with moving my neck. And within a few hours, had numbness and tingling down the left arm. Within a couple of days, it started in the right arm. And a few days after that, I started having tremors. So,
can you show us the tremors? Like, what was it like?
So it always started like my right thumb,
Okay.
but then it would progress all the way up my arm. And especially if I was lying down was horrible. So it would go to the point where my whole arm was going like this. And then inside my body, I would feel them in the core and all of my legs. It was more like a vibration, but the right arm would actually do that.
Okay, so the legs weren't jerked, but you felt like internal tremors.
Yeah, just
like and like vibration.
Right.
Okay.
And it wasn't constant. It was worse with certain neck movements. If I slouched, put my neck down like that, but especially lying down. I could not lie down at all. On a very firm table like one of the treatment plinths was fine. But if I had a pillow, it was like I could tell my neck was like shearing, and then the tremors would start.
You're saying when you flexed your neck, the tremors would get a lot
It
worse?
was more with extension or laying.
When you say, is it chin forward?
Yeah, chin forward definitely bothered me.
Chin forward would cause the tremors. So again, that's a clue, or at least a clue to you, that it's related to your neck structure. That's all.
And before that, you know, I'd had some neck pain and headaches, but nothing like this. And so I knew my neck was injured. So we ended up with 3 emergency room visits, 2 5-day hospitalizations, and no one could find anything wrong. I was telling them it's upper cervical instability, and they're like, it's not, it's just a neurological condition.
Because they did normal MRIs, but they never moved you.
Well, until I forced them to, yeah.
Okay.
So they would not move me.
Okay.
And I finally would go to them and I'd say, you know, studies from the NIH show that you have to have movement with like CT scans or MRI so that you can show the upper cervical instability. And they would argue with me, and then my husband would get involved, and finally they would say, okay, we'll do this test. But what they would do was like take the picture of the MRI, have me flex, and my arm would start trembling. And of course, no one's looking because the X-ray tech's over there not paying attention, and no one's documenting that. And then they take the picture and you're flexed, and then they'd come back and then take the picture and extension. So it was not while I was moving like you do. It was more static pictures, rotate, take a picture. But the whole time I'm in there, my arm is going crazy, but no one's documenting this. And so they look at the test and they're like, nope, there's no instability. It's perfectly fine. They did a spinal tap, and while I'm laying on my side during the spinal tap, the whole arm's going crazy. And I say, do you see this? But would not pay attention to it. They kind of treated me like I was crazy, kept telling me just to go back and get some physical therapy and just ignore that I couldn't lie down and just lie down. So they did the spinal tap. My arm was going crazy during the spinal tap, and they just said that I'd previously been diagnosed with MS, and they said, oh, you don't have MS. And so they started going into other neurological conditions and just insisting it was that. So meanwhile, they're telling me to lie down. So I tried lying down to sleep. I wake up the next morning and have tremors in my lips and tongue. Again, they start treating me like I'm kind of crazy, you know. And this went on for months and months. I started having just exhaustion. I had total severe fatigue. I had light sensitivity, so that I was wearing sunglasses in the house, and no energy, and basically just became kind of a zombie sitting in a recliner, sleeping in a recliner. So you're not getting much sleep. And I had asked my doctor for a hard cervical collar, and it felt better in that. But again, they just wouldn't listen to me. So I'd been to several hospitals, all sorts of neurologists, and they finally came up with a diagnosis of Charcot-Marie tooth. But what I said was, okay, regardless if I had that diagnosis, that's fine. That has nothing to do with what's going on here, because I know as a physical therapist, when it's positional changes or when the things are happening, it's related to my neck.
Versus like you have a muscle issue related to your legs or something.
Right.
You know, so it's just interesting that they thought that was causing that. I mean, it's,
They ended up doing some functional testing and basically said that it was in my head. Basically.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So
like conversion disorder.
Right. So they basically said, just go get some therapy, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I continued to decline. I was just like a zombie sitting in a recliner, and had heard of this physical therapist in town who was very good, and Dr. Edsel Bittencourt, you know who he is.
Yeah, very good.
So I actually went to him and I said, I don't want you to treat me. I think that my alar ligament is torn, and I just want you to assess me and see what you think. And he agreed that there was instability, maybe not alar ligament, but instability, and referred me to you.
Okay.
So that's how I found you. So it took those 5 or 6 months to get here. So when I came, I was really the zombie state, very discouraged, you know, the light sensitivity, no life, no personality. I just got really just blah, you know.
Plus, you know, you hear me say it's a kind of a little bit of a dangerous thing for a human being to be sleeping upright, because, you know, like just a little, like Izzy, who's filming this, like just what we did with her one time is we just had you laying down, then we just raised the bed just a little. Like, I just wanted to see, like, and it was unbelievable. If you just raise the bed a little bit, man, those jugular veins close off. So you can imagine, like, over many months or years, if you're sleeping upright, it's going to be very bad for your brain, because your brain has to have the jugular veins open to flush the toxins, the waste products, poisonous things, if you will, for the brain, to get them out of the brain and processed by the body. So if you sleep upright, it's like you had to do it because you had the thing, but long term, all that's going to happen is you're going to get worse and worse and worse.
I was getting a little crazy. My husband finally said, we're going to go buy the bed that's adjustable. But even then, I had to have the cervical collar on, and we were sleeping at 45 degrees up.
Okay, so you got the testing here at the office, and what was your impression of what was wrong and what to do? And then what did you do?
Well, first of all, I felt justified because you guys kind of saw the same thing that I was saying. And it's like, you know, you're not crazy, and all the vagus nerve things were happening, and it made sense. All the things that was happening to my face. I had weakness on the right side of my body, and I was having muscle wasting. So all those things kind of started making, you know, agreeing with what I was thinking. So that made me feel better. And we did treatment that same day. Mm-hmm. So after the first month, I didn't notice anything till about a couple days before I came back, and I could lower the head of the bed 5 degrees.
Oh, that's good.
After the second month, I could lower it to 25 degrees, and after the third month, I could lay completely flat with no collar. So that was huge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then explain, you know, what's gone on in the last couple months, and how are you doing? And
so it's kind of been a slow process. Even though that was very fast, that was good. Yeah. I started feeling better. Started feeling like I had more life, more energy, all of those things. But lying down has still been an issue in that I have a really hard time getting my head positioned properly. It gets kind of irritated. But then I'll wake up in the morning and it feels like it's sheared a little bit, and I'll have a terrible headache. And being a physical therapist, I can mobilize it. I feel like I have to mobilize C1 and C2. The headache immediately goes away. So that has been slowly getting better and better. I did have to have a lot of physical therapy with Edsel in between, and I think a lot of it was there was some malalignment. So you're trying to stabilize, but it was still malaligned. Mm-hmm. So he did a lot of hands-on therapy and acupuncture, and then stabilizing with you each month. So we did every month for that first year. I think we missed one because of a hurricane. And then last year we went to quarterly.
So yeah, I see about every 3 months.
I see, yeah. No, now? Yes.
Yeah, about every 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then how's the tremor?
There's no tremors whatsoever unless I lay on my stomach in the bed. If like my head is forward like that, as soon as I'm in that position, I'll feel the tremors start. So it does not like that position.
But it's not.
Other than that, there's no tremors whatsoever.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And then explain like how you are now. Like, are you working?
I did not go back to work. I couldn't do it at all. I wouldn't have been able to do it at all for that first year. I was still very weak and fatigued. But I don't have the full strength of my right arm. I was always really strong, and my work was all hands-on. So I did private patients, all hands-on. So I never felt like I had that full strength. So I've worked a couple of times on a couple of therapists that they've worked on me, like, hey, will you work on me? And I can tell when I'm doing it, like there's a little bit of that tremory weakness. It's not a tremor, but it's just not that stable strength in my right arm that I used to have. So I just decided to retire. You know,
Oh, okay.
I'd been a PT for 40 years.
Okay.
I kind of wasn't ready, but God knows more what we need.
Yes.
And now I love being retired, so it was a good thing.
Oh, good.
But
How's your like energy, your light sensitivity? Like obviously the lights are bright.
oh yeah, no problem with that
Okay,
whatsoever.
so that resolves.
My
so
energy
there
is
definitely
normal.
are things that are resolved.
Oh, so much.
Okay,
Everything.
so why don't you just explain for everybody what things maybe are resolved?
Okay.
Or,
I have no problem with my energy. I really have no pain unless I wake up with that out of position and I can adjust a little bit and then it goes away. So thank the Lord that I know how to do that, right? I have no light sensitivity. I have no tremors, no numbness or tingling. I had some blurred vision and that's gone.
that's good. Did you have dizziness?
Not too much
Okay.
dizziness.
Digestive tract, heart palpitations, any of
No,
that stuff?
not really.
Okay, swallowing.
Swallowing, I did have a hard time with. I felt like I was like going to choke
Yeah,
on
how's
something
that
all the
feel?
time. That's fine,
Okay.
perfectly fine. My energy's good. I can do yard work, heavy housework, anything
Okay.
I want. The only thing I notice is if I try to do the PT,
Okay.
it takes a lot of strength, and I just don't have that.
Oh, that's fair.
But I can hold grandbabies, and that works great. So
Oh, you guys have some grand.
we got 2 grandbabies in the last year. So
Oh, awesome. Oh, so that you got plenty of things
See?
to keep you
Yeah,
busy.
so
That'll
retirement
give you a
was
lot
good.
of joy.
yeah, but I mean, I am like 1,000% better
Okay.
than where I was. I was
Okay.
literally a zombie, and
Okay.
you've saved my life, really.
Well, just God's good. I just like you and I had talked about just like it's important that whatever you do, that it's truthful. So I think because we test people, and it's just objective tests. Like you're just getting objective tests. So if there's abnormalities, like you said, you got validated because the jugular veins were closed, the vagus nerves were degenerated. We documented your instability. We documented that your pupils were really big, because of your dysautonomia or your autonomic nervous system. And then,
I also had really hot red cheeks if I did any work
Yeah.
and be like out of breath. So I mean, like scrub something for 5 minutes, a couple minutes, and I'd be like bright red cheeks. That stopped immediately.
I could just tell like your countenance is a lot better.
Yeah, so much better.
And then, how are you spending your time now? Like, what do you do each day? Because you don't seem like somebody who would sit there and watch soap operas.
I don't watch soap operas, but I do like to read, so I can sit around and read.
Oh, so what kind of stuff do you read?
Oh, crime fiction.
Okay.
And the Bible, of course.
Yeah.
I do Bible studies and stuff like that. But I spend a lot. I decorate my house, clean the house, do yard work, some things at church, and then a lot of time with grandchildren.
And then, how often do you get to see them?
So one of them moved to Texas, but we're seeing them like we go out there for 2 weeks at a time, and then we're gone for a couple months, and then 2 weeks at a time. So pretty often for being far away.
That's
So
good.
it's allowed me to travel, which I wouldn't have been able to do when I was working. The other one lives just 15 minutes away, so I see her all the time.
Awesome.
She's great.
Karen, thank you so much. And then,
Thank you.
so obviously we'll do our best to get your prolotherapy done, and hopefully, you won't need it in the future.
I think I'm pretty close, actually.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, one of these,